How you doing, guys? Big Mech Down School here again today, back once again with another Conquest video for you. Today, we're going to be playing through Tutorial Mission 3. So, Tutorial Mission 3, what's the idea in this one? What are we learning in this one? Well, we're learning squad warfare. That means unit coherency has to be maintained by the squads. I've played through the mission already, and I played through it using just the simple rules update that we've got on this page. I'll pop some stats up on the screen for you. But I played through it a few times this mission, and I decided when I was recording to just play with the most basic rules that they give us here, and none of the extra rules that we've learned on the previous missions, because I thought things were dying too quickly. You'll see how this unfolds now and compare it to the previous two missions, the previous two tutorial missions, yeah, you'll be able to see that maybe it's just the mission that's meaning things are dying quickly. I won't give anything else away. I'll just crack on with the battle for you now. So as you can see in front of you guys, I've actually got the miniatures placed on the battlefield already, but I'm going to actually roll for deployment here to see who deploys first, and then I'll try and deploy in a tactically advantaged way for that side. So I've got a green dice and a white, and the white represents the Imperial Fists, and the green, the Nurgly boys over there, the Death Guard. So let's see who rolls higher. It is a 5 for the Imperial Fists and a 2 for the Death Guard, so the Imperial Fists will deploy first. And as if by magic, the Marines are now on the side of the battlefield here, and here are the Death Guard miniatures, and I'm going to deploy with the Marine player deploying first. It says in the rules you have to deploy on your deployment zones as before. So you place the first miniature from a squad, because we're now using squad warfare, let's not forget. So let's say I want to deploy an intercessor. I'll place him somewhere with a good line of sight, so I'll place him on that deployment zone there. I want the squad to be able to see as much of the battlefield as possible, and I think that one has the best line of sight for the Imperial Fists. Then you have to place the next Marine within 2 inches of the last one. I've got a handy little measuring device here that Craig from Kablam's made me a long time ago when I won a competition. I think it was a naming competition or something, I can't remember. But yeah, check out Kablam's channel if you want to see lots of styrene goodness. He's recently built a Necromunda train set, basically. So go and check that out. It's an absolutely fantastic board he's got. It's all with styrene and all custom built by himself. But anyway, this is a handy 2-inch marker, so I can really get the distance there. Now the only thing I've got to remember here is, not only do you have to be within 2 inches of another Marine in the squad, or another model in the unit, you also have to deploy wholly within 4 inches of one of the deployment spots. So what I'll do here is just measure that. That's 4 inches there, you see. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, sorry. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know how to work measuring devices now all of a sudden. So he'll have to deploy like no further up the field than that. That's where I want him to deploy. And the Reavers, well, no, actually, it's onto the Death Guard player to deploy a miniature or 2 now. So, who would I rather have facing off against the Intercessors? Would I rather have the Poxwalkers, who are a combat unit, or the Death Guard themselves, who can be handy in combat, but they only get one attack. So I think in this instance, I'm going to try and have... I don't know, you know. I think I want to try and hide my units from the intercessors, really. But I could do... Right, I'll tell you what, I'll go for the middle one, because I'm being indecisive here. And they have to be within 2 inches of each other. Or at least one other model from the unit, and no more than 4 inches from the... I'm going to try and get the maximum range on that. No more than 4 inches from the deployment spot, if you like. So I'm just going to move him up there, because I want to get them as far up the battlefield as possible, so they've got as good a chance of charging up the battlefield as possible. That should be about right. And here's a thing that's just popped into my head, actually. I could try and use them as a blocking unit to try and stop the Reavers from getting to the Death Guard squad, but that's it's up to the Reavers to deploy now. And where do the Reavers want to deploy? Do they want to go up the middle to give them a good chance of charging either Death Guard unit, or do they want to stick to the cover and maybe go around the back here? I'm going to go up the middle for the Reavers. That's within 2, and that is also within 2, and then that is within 4 of there. Yep, correct. So I'm going to go up the middle for the Reavers. That's where they're going to go, and the Death Guard Poxwalkers now. These guys, yeah, I'm going to deploy them over here and try and prevent the Space Marine units from charging them by having the Poxwalkers block the path, basically. Let's just double check that one is within 4 inches. He is within 4 inches of that deployment marker, so that's deployment for you. Yeah, let's just check them out, see where they're deployed there. Very nice, and this is how the battlefield's set up now. And I've got my handy dice tray here that I rolled the deployment dice in. The initiative dice, I guess you'd call them. And that's what I'll be using to roll my dice in from now on. I made this a long time ago after seeing Kablams, I think, had made one. Funnily enough, you know, now I've shown you this. That's his channel logo there, the K. Yeah, I'd seen he'd made a dice tray out of a picture frame. I think he'd airbrushed his rather than using 2 different types of felt. But yeah, that's my dice tray there. And this is my battlefield. So, on with first turn. Let's see what happens now. Just been referring back to the rules to see who gets the first turn, and whoever deployed a unit last gets the first turn, meaning the Death Guard player will get the first turn in this scenario. So, let's see what they want to do now. So what I'm going to do is just spin this round slightly. So I've got a better reach across the battlefield without risking knocking my camera over. So, the Death Guard player, the Poxwalkers can move 4 inches, and the Marines can move 5 inches. What I'm going to do is spread the Poxwalkers out, and I think I might leave the Plague Marines where they are, actually. So the Poxwalkers are just going to spread right out. Across the battlefield, to try and form a sort of cordon that the Reavers will find it hard to penetrate. And the Plague Marines are going to stay where they are. Now it's on to the shooting phase. This is turn 1, by the way. That's my new turn counter. A big red dice. So onto the shooting phase. The Poxwalkers are not going to be... I'm just going to use the basic rules that it gives us in the scenario. So in this scenario, it's got the standard rules. It doesn't have any extra rules. So I'll be using the basic bolter rules for the Plague Marines. So they hit on 3s. I should really be showing you these dice rolls. I've not even said who they're shooting at. They will be shooting at the intercessors. They're hitting on 3s. They all hit, and they're going to be wounding on 4s. 2 wounds. There is 1 hidden away there. That's a 5. So 2 wounds, so it's 2 saves for the intercessors. Yeah, they can't see the Reavers, so that's why they're not shooting at the Reavers. 2 3-up saves for the intercessors. And that is 1 wound taken by the intercessors, so we've got a penny coin there that I'll put on the first intercessor, the sergeant. I'll tell you what, I'll put it on the back one. Yeah. Back to the battlefield now. It is the Space Marines' first turn. Well, I'll tell you what, the intercessors are going to move first. And they're going to move so they can all see the Poxwalkers, so this guy's just going to move over there. They get to move 6 inches in total, and now they can all see the Poxwalkers. And the Reavers are going to move up the battlefield 6 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they're just going to move up there to try and take some shots at these Poxwalkers if they can. Crumbs. Is that within 2 inches? That's the question. Or what would you say? Just about. And then 6 inches for this fella. Ah, this fella's not going to be able to make it to there, is he? Tell you what, I'm going to grab the other movement, the other measuring device to see if I can get him within. Yeah, there we go. If I just bend him round that way, he ends up about there, and that is within 2 inches. And taking a look at the battlefield, we'll see who of the Reavers can see the Poxwalkers. They can all just about see the Poxwalkers. This guy here can just about see the fatty there. So the Reavers will all get shots at the Poxwalkers, and the intercessors are all going to take shots at the Poxwalkers as well. The intercessors will go first, and there's no rapid fire in this particular battle. As I said, it's a simplified profile again. So the intercessors, first of all, will take 3 shots at the Poxwalkers, hitting on 3s. And that is 3 hits, so 4 there. And they will be wounding on 3s, because it's only the Poxwalkers. That is 2 wounds. And so the Poxwalkers now get the Disgusting and Resilient save of a 5-up. 2 of them. Oh, they both fail, so that's 2 dead Poxwalkers. What I'll do as the Death Guard player, getting to choose which 2 to remove. I'll remove the back 2 here, because that means there's still a nice little line there preventing anybody from charging into the Plague Marines. Put them to one side there. And then it's on to the Reavers to shoot at the Poxwalkers as well. They're going to take 3 shots, and they will hit on 3s. Ooh, just 1 hit there. And they'll wound on 3s. That is a wound, and it's a 5-up save, Disgusting and Resilient for the Poxwalkers. Oh, it's another failed one. So now, which Poxwalker should I remove? I think because these 3 will still block the path of the Reavers, what I'll do is remove this one. And then plonk him just over here. Then that is the... Oh no, it's not quite the end of turn 1, because we can still get a charge off with either the Reavers. Yeah, it's going to be the Reavers, the only ones that are going to be able to charge. So what I will do is try and charge with the Reavers at the Poxwalkers. Might as well just try and wipe them out in the first turn if I can. So that charge roll, I'll just measure the distance first of all. That is 6 inches. And that charge roll then has to be a 6 or more. Let's see if they can do it. Oh yes, easily. With a 10-inch charge there, they easily get in. That is going to go right over. So this dude, and I'm just going to check that's 8. This measuring device is 8 inches, so as long as he can get remotely close, he is going to be in easily. I've got my extended measuring device here. Yeah, that's easily 10 inches. So they're all going to get in. And we're going to move on to the combat phase. There's no Overwatch, of course, from the Poxwalkers because they because they don't have any weapons, as you can see when I get nice and close there. So piling in, the Reavers will get to attack first, and they will be hitting. Let me just see how many attacks they get. I think they get 2 attacks on these profiles. These are the profiles I'm using, by the way. So yes, that is 3 combat attacks, 3 close combat attacks, according to these profiles. So 3 attacks each, which means 9 dice in total. And they will be hitting on 3s. That is 2 failed, 3 failed. So that is 6 successes. Switching the camera between hands here. And they will be wounding on 3s as well. I'm missing a dice. Just buried in the corner, wounded on 3s. And that is just 1 fail to wound, so 5 wounds on 3 Plague Marines. So the Poxwalkers now have to make 5 disgusting and resilient. Should I roll them one at a time for dramatic effect? Here's 1. Failed, there's 1 dead guy. 2. Oh, success. So there's 2 left. 3 dice left, rather. 3. Oh, failed, so that's 2 dead guys. Oh, 3 dead Poxwalkers there. And they get removed from the battlefield now. Absolutely devastating for the Death Guard this first turn. Maybe I need to reconsider my tactics. And of course, the Reavers now get to consolidate up to 3 inches. So let's just measure ourselves 3 little inches here. Oh, they get so close to the Death Guard. There's no way for the Death Guard out of this, surely. We need to remain 1 inch away from the Death Guard models. So let's just check he's 1 inch away. Easily 1 inch away there. Yep, so that is the end of turn 1, and we'll see now what happens in turn 2. Let's spin the battlefield round and see if we can't get a better view of what's going to happen down at that back corner there. So, spinning that round, get down to this back corner. It is now Death Guard, turn 2. As you can see here, life is hard for the Death Guard. They will now want to be moving, I think. I don't think there's much chance of staying out of combat with the Reavers. So I think they're just going to have to stand and shoot. And then if the Reavers charge them, they'll get to fire Overwatch as well, I guess. That's the only tactic open to me at the moment. So, Death Guard turn 2, they will stand and shoot. And they will take 3 shots at the Reavers. They should have found a way to shoot at the Reavers in the first place, probably. Yeah, they'll take 3 shots at the Reavers though anyway, hitting on 3s. And that is 3 hits. Wounding on 4s. Oh, 2 wounds, nice. So it's 2 3-up saves for the Reavers. That is 1 failed save. Oh, that is a 4 now, but it was a 2, I promise. So that is 1 wound on one of the Reavers. I'll just plonk it on that guy there. And yeah, did they want to charge themselves and risk taking an Overwatch shot? Not really, no. So it's on to Space Marine turn 2 now. Just before the Reavers do anything, I will move the Intercessors further up the battlefield. Move this guy to here. This guy follows him, and same for this guy. All nice and close up the battlefield, and then they will take some shots at the Intercessors. Oh, sorry, the Poxwalkers. No, not the Poxwalkers, the Plague Marines. I really need to get used to saying which units I'm talking about. So they just get the 3 shots hitting on 3s. This is the Intercessors into them. So they all hit into the Plague Marines. And the will wound on 5s. Ooh, 2 wounds there. So it's 3-up saves for the Plague Marines now. First one is failed, so it's a disgusting and resilient now. Failed, so that is 1 dead Plague Marine. Just to make the charge slightly further, I'm going to take this guy out. And then another one. 3 up save. Made it. So that is 1 dead Plague Marine. And now the Intercessors, or the Reavers rather, are going to shoot at the Plague Marines as well. They're hitting on 3s. That is only 1 hit. There's 2 1s there. So let's get rid of them. And they are wounding on 5s. Wound. So the Plague Marines now need to make a 3 up save. Make it. So it's going to be a charge now from the Reavers, funnily enough, into the Intercessors. And it's only a 2-inch charge, they can't fail it. I'll just roll the dice for the sake of it. Oh, they got 6 inches, yes, so they'll easily make it into combat there. And they will get to attack first as well with 9 attacks. So 9 attacks from the Reavers on the Plague Marines. They are hitting on 3s. Just 1 failed to hit there. That is 8 successful hits. And they will be wounding on 5s. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wounds for the Plague Marines to try and shake off now, shrug off. So 5 wounds. Let's get some dice to hand. 3 up saves. Oh my word, would you look at that? Not 1 3 up save was made. 4 2s and a 1. So it's up to 5. I've got to make at least 4 here. At least 4 disgusting of resilience on a 5+. Let's get in close for this. Nope, just 1 made. So that is 2 wounds taken by each Poxwalker, Plague Marine rather. I'm still doing it, and that means that is the end of the Plague Marines in turn 2 there. Now, going from very little dying in the first few missions that I've played to everything dying in the first 2 turns in this one is an absolutely barnstorming victory for the Imperial Fists there. So, as you saw, it was a pretty one-sided affair that. There are no extra rules in this issue unless I've lost the page that have the extra rules, the replay extra rules in it for issue 3. If you're a collector of Conquest yourself, let me know in the comments below if it's not issue 3 rather, tutorial mission 3. If tutorial mission 3 came with replay extra rules. I could go back and check on my old videos, maybe one of you wants to do that for me. But yeah, rather than do that myself, I'll let you comment in the comment section below whether there are extra rules for this mission. I could go back and play the mission with extra rules like for the power weapons and stuff like that, but I don't think it was that one-sided. I think if we used any extra rules from the previous missions, they pretty much boost up the Space Marines rather than the Death Guard forces. The Death Guard forces get a couple of little boosts in terms of firepower and guns and that, but not a massive boost if I'm honest. All the extra rules we've had so far have boosted the Space Marines rather than Death Guard miniatures. So yeah, that's it. It's one-sided, massive victory for the Imperial Fists there. There's not an awful lot to say about it other than wow, that was one-sided. If I replayed it again, I don't think it'd be quite that one-sided. It might even make it all the way to turn 3. There was no need for this particular tutorial game to have a turn limit, although I would have given it a 5-turn turn limit. I don't know what it says. I don't think it says anything in the rules. Oh, yeah, it doesn't say anything in the rules about having a turn limit in this particular scenario. But yeah, the miniatures just died left, right and centre, didn't they? The Intercessors got some good shots off early on the Poxwalkers, and then the rest of the Poxwalkers were taken out by the Reavers. The Reavers then consolidated right into within 2 inches of the Plague Marines, meaning they couldn't fail the charge when they came to make it. So it's yeah, it was very one-sided, and the Intercessors got one of the Plague Marines out of the way before the Reavers even made it into combat with them. So yeah, there's not a lot else we can say about that one. Tune in next week for another tutorial mission 4, which will involve a hero for the first time. We'll see how that one goes. Hopefully it'll last a little longer than this one. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the battlefield.